Fox Sports.
We are the Fourth. We are the Land.
Been a beautiful sunny day here in Philadelphia, and it proves to be a beautiful night in Philadelphia as well, as the middle game of this series is about to unfold. The Reds and the Phillies here on Fox Sports Ohio. And hi, and a pleasant good evening, everyone, and welcome to Reds Baseball. Tonight from Citizens Bank Park here in Philadelphia, Game 2 of this three-game series, the Reds and the Phillies. Jim Couch along with Chris Welsh. And Chris, interesting and intriguing pitching matchup for tonight's game. Homer Bailey against Cole Hamels. Both these pitchers would love to have better numbers on the year, but both are coming off pretty good starts their last time out.
Well, they're much ballyhooed young pitchers, former #1 draft picks, each of them. Both of them have come through this season a little different way. Homer Bailey, you see what he did his last time out against Colorado, 7 innings of 4-hit, 1-run baseball. And Cole Hamels has been a long time coming around. He had some shoulder fatigue, some bicep tendonitis early in the year. He's only made 4 starts. But man, his last start was a real good one. That was the second time he had faced the New York Mets this year. He struck out 10 in 7 innings, and he threw 133 pitches in 7 innings. You wonder what he's got left in that shoulder tonight.
Here's an interesting graphic now about Bailey versus Philly, Cole Hamels versus the Reds.
Well, you know, these are overall for Homer Bailey, but his last 2 starts against the Philadelphia Phillies have been lights out. In fact, he's pitched 15 innings. I think he struck out 13 batters. So, you know, early career numbers for Homer Bailey, you can kind of throw them out the window. Meanwhile, Cole Hamels has been lights out against the Reds each and every time he's been after them. So you wonder if maybe this matchup of a couple of former #1 draft picks, lefty and righty, we'll see who ends up on top tonight.
Well, the Reds were a winner here last night. They've not won a series in this ballpark since 2006. Maybe it happens in 2014. We'll step aside when we come back. There's been some first inning magic created here as of late by the man who plays center field for the Reds, Billy Hamilton. We'll explain more when we come back. Go further by Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. by AT&T, mobilizing your world. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good? It's Skyline time. Let's go downstairs to Jim Day with more on Billy Hamilton. Jim?
Thank you, Jim. Billy Hamilton's providing the Reds exactly what they want from a leadoff hitter. For the last 5 games in the first inning, he's our lows never stop improving. 4 out of the last 5 games, leading off in the first inning, he has scored, got on base and scored 4 out of those last 5. And it's been a mixed bag, which is good for Cincinnati. Bunt single, triple, walk, single, all of which he scored on. .316 in his last 5 appearances, and last 24 appearances he's hitting .329. So after that very slow start to his season, he has given the Reds exactly what they need. That's our lows never stop improving. We'll see how it goes tonight. Jim Kelch.
All right, thank you, Jim Day. Brian Price tries to manage the Reds to their 20th victory tonight. Here's the lineup card that he presents against the Phillies. Brought to you by Meyer. Billy Hamilton in the #1 spot. Zach Cozart in the 2 spot for the first time this year. Then Brandon Phillips, it's Todd Frazier, Ryan Ludwig, Skip Schumacher gets the start against the left-hander. Neftali Soto, his first start at first base. Tucker Barnhart 8, Homer Bailey 9. Against this veteran left-hander, 30-year-old Cole Hamels.
Well, he's a veteran now. He's looking for win number 100 in his major league career. Right now he's sitting at 99 up and 76 down. This is not a typical year for Cole Hamels, as you can tell by that 0-2 record. Came into spring training with shoulder tendonitis. It set him back, and he's only pitched in 4 games so far this year, although the best of the 4 was his last time out.
He's ready to go. So is Billy Hamilton, batting from the right side. It's a lovely Saturday night here in Philadelphia, and the first pitch is right in there for a called strike, and we are underway. Well, we haven't seen Billy Hamilton bat from the right side very much this year. Natural right-handed hitter, but most of his ABs have come from the left side. Hamilton this year, 24 ABs batting right-handed, 92 batting left-handed. .67 degrees game time temperature here at Citizens Bank Park. Billy at .259 overall with a homer. He's driven in 6. Last night 1 for 4. One of the 5 hits the Reds picked up in their 3-0 win. Billy this year 4 hits, 24 at bats, batting from the right side. We actually saw him hit right-handed last night against Antonio Bastardo. He chased the ball way over his head, struck out in the 8th inning. Now he takes a breaking ball that drops in there for a strike. So without the benefit of a swing, Hamilton is out. Take a look now at the Phillies defensively, brought to you by your Ford dealers. Behind the lefty Cole Hamels, they have Dominic Brown in left, Tony Gwynn Jr. the start in center, Marlon Byrd in right, Ashe at third, Rollins at short, Utley at second, Howard at first, and a battery of Hamels being caught by Carlos Ruiz. Here's Zach Cozart. Cozart elevated to the #2 spot in the lineup for the first time this year. It's not a new position for him. New for 2014. He is hitting the lower part of the order this year. Starts the game at 203 with a homer, and he's driven in 11. Hit 8 last night, was hitless in the game. Lines this ball, that's fair, inside the line, off the sidewall, it kicks. Dominic Brown to chase it. There goes the runner into second. Cozart with a 1-out double, his 6th of the year, and the Reds are in business here in inning #1.
Well, he got it hard. Hamels wanted this ball on the outer part of the plate, and you see where it just drifted in. And Cozart is very quick on the inside pitch. He rips it right down the third base line. That may have been one of those situations where Cole Hamels is trying to feather that little cutter on the outside corner. He just holds onto it a little bit too long. So the Reds take advantage of it right here. Maybe they can get ahead of the Phillies early like they did last night.
Well, Jim Day talked about Hamilton getting on 5 of the last 6 games in the first inning and scoring. He didn't do it tonight, but Cozart does, and now a couple of opportunities, the first of which belongs to Brandon Phillips, who has been swinging a very hot bat as of late. Last night, a multi-hit game, 2 for 4. His average now up to 287. 372 over his last 11 games. Didn't get that one.
Now that's a changeup that he really likes. That pitch, really, of all of his off-speed pitches, he uses that one the most. Very effective, even more so against right-handers than it is against left-handers.
So Phillips in the hole, 2 strikes. Todd Frazier waits on deck as Cozart leads away out at second.
All right, we'll see if he does the same thing to Brandon Phillips here that he did to Billy Hamilton. You get ahead of him, then you throw a high fastball just out of the strike zone. Last pitch, he did that to Hamilton. Caught him looking on a breaking ball coming in from the top again. We'll see if he does that here to Brandon. Yep.
Hamels appears as if he wanted that call, didn't get it.
Well, really not a lot of body emotion out of Cole Hamels. He has learned so much from Cliff Lee as far as how to be a professional, how to go about his business on the mound. And he's a whole lot better pitcher because they've had Cliff Lee here in a Phillies uniform for several years.
Well, Lee will pitch here tomorrow in the afternoon game. Brandon lays off that one, and so he goes from 1-2 now to 3-2. Frazier waits on deck. Brandon, not a whole lot of luck against Hamels in his career. Just 4 hits and a 143 average. Reds scored 3 in the first last night on the 3-run homer by Mesoraco, trying to get on the board in the first here tonight. That one misses outside for ball 4. And so Phillips joins Cozart on the bases.
Yeah, that's really a good at bat by Brandon right there. You know, sometimes you can have, you can tell a player who's seeing the ball really well by the way he doesn't chase pitches that are close to being strikes. That one on the inside corner that he may have thought was a strike and Hamels may have wanted is a good example. When you're seeing it big, and Brandon is seeing it big right now, you don't chase those pitches.
Here now is Todd Frazier. 2 on with 1 out. Opportunity presenting itself here in the first for Brian Price's club. Frazier begins the game at 266. 7 home runs, 21 runs batted in. His 14 game hitting streak came to an end last night. He went 0 for 4. He had that opportunity in the 9th inning. He bounced the ball to Cody Ashe down at third and was thrown out. Still a career best for him and the longest by a Reds player this year. Our man in blue behind the plate in this game is Jordan Baker. Crew chief is Jerry Meals. He's down at first. Paul Emmel at second. Chris Conroy at third. There are your runners. Cozart at second. Phillips at first. Now Frazier in the hole. Other than Phillips and Ludwig, really not many at-bats at all by this Reds crew against Hamels, with Bruce out of there, with Votto out of there. Got guys like Cozart, Schumacher. Very few at-bats against the veteran lefty. Toward third, and no play as Frazier hustling down the line, legged it out. Hamels got to the ball, held onto it wisely. Everybody moves up, and now the Reds have them loaded with 1 out. Infield hit for Frazier.
Well, that's a huge break right there for the Reds. Cole Hamels makes one heck of a pitch right here, and Frazier barely gets a bat on the ball. So you make a good pitch, you don't always get good results from it, and you make a bad swing, you don't always get bad results from it. But Todd Frazier is able to load the bases up with an infield hit. And the Reds have a chance here to push a couple of runs across here in the first inning.
Here now is Ryan Ludwig. Hitless in the game last night, 1 for his last 13, but with a big chance here. He takes strike 1. Starts the game at 255 with a couple of home runs. Driven in 15. You see his career numbers with the bases loaded. 2 grand slams. 1 while wearing a Reds uniform. Slowly toward Utley at second base. He'll bobble the ball. They'll get an out at second. A run does score. The Reds have taken the lead. Credit Ludwig with an RBI. Utley, I don't think they had a chance to turn the double play ball there, but when the bobble, that wiped it out completely.
Well, I think that he had that runner coming on him, and he probably saw Frazier out of corner of his eye right there. And even as an experienced infielder that he is, he probably was a little bit distracted, thinking, hey, how am I going to get this double play right here? He's probably wanted to get that ball, flip it to first, and then get Frazier in a rundown. So Frazier gets some high fives. The Reds score one, and they have him on the corners.
So for the second night in a row, an early advantage for Cincinnati. Schumacher in there, lefty against lefty. So far this year, he's 2 for 6 against left-handed pitching. Comes in at 242 overall. Last night against the righty, Kendrick was in the 2 spot. Today against the lefty in the 6 hole. Hamels, 30 years old, native of San Diego, former first-round pick by the Phillies back in 2002, 3-time All-Star, and in 2008 World Series MVP. Another slow tapper to the right side. Hamels is going to get it and flip it on to first. Schumacher is gone, and so are the Reds. But they push a run across on the ground out by Ludwig. Here comes Homer Bailey with a 1-0 lead.
Cincinnati Reds. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
1-0 Reds. Here come the Phillies now in the bottom of the first inning. They'll present to get things going Jimmy Rollins, Carlos Ruiz, Chase Utley, and here's the rest of their lineup brought to you by Meyer. Rollins, Ruiz, and Utley at the top. Howard, Bird, and Cody Ashe, who had 3 hits in the game last night in the 6th spot. Dominic Brown, Tony Gwynn Jr. in center. Cole Hamels does the pitching against the right-hander Homer Bailey.
Well, Homer Bailey 3-2 on the year. He's had 8 starts. And little by little, that earned run average is coming down, and he's pitching much better baseball. Last couple of times he has faced the Phillies, he has shut them out in the 15 innings that he's pitched. All of those, of course, last year.
Yeah, he's had really, we showed that graphic at the beginning, 0-3, but he's had 4 consecutive quality starts against this team. Still hasn't won against the Phillies. 0-3 overall, 0-2 in this ballpark. He's at 1-2 to Jimmy Rollins. Rollins in the number 1 spot, the leadoff spot, due to the illness to Ben Revere, a former Twin. Revere sat out last night with a stomach virus. We were told before the game today that he still has the virus. Ryan Sandberg would not go so far as to say he is not available at all tonight. Rollins in the leadoff spot for the second time in a row. Not an unfamiliar spot for him throughout his career. Frazier and Barnhart chase this ball, and neither can get there, although it appeared that both maybe could have gotten there.
Yeah, kind of a half-hearted effort, because it was I got it, you take it. And I'm not sure that either one of them really took control out of this. And this is Todd Frazier's ball. If he can get to it, he should be calling them off. And I think because Tucker Barnhart gets out from behind home plate so quickly that he may have surprised Frazier by getting him near the spot.
And let's hope the Reds don't pay for that. 2-2 to Rollins. Now ball 3. This Phillies team blanked for the second consecutive game when they lost here to the Reds last night 3-0. Have not scored now in 20 consecutive innings. Base hit, so they do pay for it. Rollins gets a hit to start the Philly first. Jimmy Rollins is closing in on the all-time Phillies hit record. We'll talk more about that as the game goes on. Meanwhile, look at the Reds defensively. Brought to you by your Ford dealers. Ludwig, Hamilton, and Schumacher across the outfield. Frazier, Cozart, Phillips, Soto, the infield third to first. Battery of Bailey and Tucker Barnhart. It's been a combination that has worked together a decent amount here as of late. Bailey and Barnhart. This is the 4th straight time that Barnhart has caught Homer Bailey.
Well, you know, it's kind of interesting, really, because Brian Price said at the beginning of the year, hey, I'm not getting into one of these situations where I have one catcher catch a certain pitcher or two, and then the other guy catches a different one. But when you start having success, it's kind of hard to pull away from it.
Now, we mentioned 3 straight starts for Barnhart with Bailey, and this being the 4th. Homer Bailey's had 3 consecutive quality starts going into tonight.
Well, none better than his last one. I think that really the turning point for Homer in his last start came early in the ball game. He attacked the hitters more with his hard stuff and didn't try to trick them with a lot of off-speed stuff the first time through the lineup. I mean, after all, Homer Bailey can throw that ball up to as high as 96 or 97 miles an hour. He sits around 94 to 95 usually. So when you throw that kind of speed and you can spot your fastball, go through the lineup the first time without having to show them all your different pitches.
2-2 now to the veteran catcher Carlos Ruiz. He's in a relatively unfamiliar position as well in the lineup at number 2. He hit there last night, had a hit. Hitting there tonight for only the 6th time this year. His career really has been spent in the bottom half of the lineup.
Yeah, but his numbers belie the fact that he's a good number 2 hitter. He walks a lot. He's walked more than he's struck out. So that's probably why Ryan Sandberg stuck him there.
Frazier dives and gets the ball. His play is at first. It's a wide throw. Soto came off the bag and put the sweep tag on, but the first base umpire, Jerry Meals, says he did not get Ruiz. And that's going to be a base hit. And they're 2 on with nobody out.
Well, Frazier makes a great play just to get a glove on this ball. Lays out thinking he's got it, and the ball falls out of his glove. He comes up firing, but he's a little bit up the first baseline with it. Well, that's a dandy effort by Frazier. Just unfortunate he wasn't able to throw the ball right to Neftali Soto at first base.
Great replay there. You could easily see that while Soto did a good job to come off the bag and get to that ball, his sweep missed Ruiz in the back. It's 2 on with nobody out for Chase Utley. Again, Ruiz is credited with an infield single. Bailey against Utley, ball 1 outside.
Well, this year, Homer Bailey has been hurt a lot more by lefties. You see the split that we show you here with a .380 batting average against. And far fewer batters face left-handers than right-handers, or else maybe that home run total would be higher.
Utley lifetime 6 for 21 against Bailey.
Half-hearted swing.
Now you see his overall numbers for the year. That .347 good for 2nd in the league.
You just wonder when this guy is going to start showing his age. One of those numbers going to start going down. I mean, he's been around a long, long time. He just keeps putting up great year after great year when he's healthy.
Yeah, it's been amazing, really, the way he has been able to bounce back from the hand injury, the couple of knee surgeries that he went through. Here he is now with a base hit last night, bringing a 7-game hitting streak into this. See, he's right behind Troy Tulowitzki in the 2 spot, top the NL leaderboard. Pops him up. This will be an infield fly rule as Cozart settles under that ball, and he handles it for out number 1. Well, the runners stay put. Rollins out at second, Ruiz at first, and another dangerous lefty walks to the dish, and Ryan Howard. Howard had a 7-game hitting streak snapped in the game last night when he went 0 for 4. Comes in at 250 with 7 home runs, 22 RBIs. All-time home run leader from the left side in Philly history, and number 2 overall behind Mike Schmidt. This guy still has, as much of a power hitter as he is, a propensity for the strikeout, more so even this year than in his career. About 1 every 3 times up this year. A little bit better than that throughout his career. He struck out 47 times this year, 148 at bats.
Well, as you get older, and he's 34 years old now, your bat speed doesn't get any quicker. Your reaction time doesn't get any quicker. So maybe you cheat a little bit more to catch up to a fastball, and you're more susceptible to off-speed stuff.
Hits this ball hard the other way. Ludwig will move to his left and make the catch as Rollins tags. He'll move on to third. Boy, it looked like Howard just flipped his wrist and drove that ball to the alley.
Well, Brian Howard, big, strong left-hander, faces Homer Bailey in the first inning, and this is our Mazda pitch by pitch. He's trying to hit that ball the other way, and I think he feels like Homer Bailey's just going to pitch him away. A little cutter right there, but his power is the left center field, and you're right, he just flips his wrist right there. They got it a little on the end of the bat, sent Ludwig back to the warning track for a fly out. That's our Mazda pitch by pitch. Pitch him away, play him away.
First 2 reach, next 2 retired. Now it's Marlon Byrd. Ground ball, diving at third. Frazier gets up, throws, got him at first. Nice play again by Frazier, who got a second chance at the same play here in the first inning. We take a look at it as we go out. Todd Frazier retires Byrd, inning over.
Philly on Fox Sports Ohio. Jim Day with you, and Neftali Soto set to lead off the second inning for Cincinnati. Hasn't got much playing time. You might not know much about him, but he is of Puerto Rican descent. And three things you might not know about Neftali Soto as big number 50 steps in against Cole Hamels. Now, one thing is that he grew up on a farm. His dad had cows, horses, dogs, all kinds of things. He says he's milked hundreds of cows in his life. He was a high school volleyball player, believe it or not. Played the corner position and could have played in college, he says. He was that good. And like many guys from Puerto Rico, he idolizes the great Roberto Clemente, and I join him on that. So tonight, Neftali Soto, a big opportunity with Joey Votto out.
Thank you, J.D. Soto probably had a great time then in Pittsburgh. And all the memorabilia that's around that ballpark regarding Roberto Clemente. He makes us his third start of the year here tonight. He started a game down in Atlanta, you may remember, at third base. Out in Boston, he DH'd in one of the games. This is his first start at first base. With Joey Votto not with the club right now. He will swing and miss at the 1-2 pitch, and he is a strikeout victim, is Neftali Soto. Second by Hamels, leadoff man gone. And here's another rookie, Tucker Barnhart. We see him bat from the right side. A rarity for him. 0 for 4 batting right-handed. Fouls the ball back and lost the bat in the process. They went right around the head of the umpire.
Yeah, that surprised Tucker, I think, as much as anybody right there. Loose grip, throwing the bat head through.
Settles back in now as Hamels brings strike 2 to the 23-year-old Tucker Barnhart.
Boy, this guy just comes right after you. A lot like what we will see tomorrow with Cliff Lee, whose nickname is Mr. First Pitch Strike. I mean, Hamels is the same way.
He gets 3 in a row in there to Barnhart and gets his third strikeout.
You know, I think especially, and Cole Hamels has been around long enough now. I mean, he's got 99 wins on the board, that he's been around long enough to know and identify hitters in the lineup that he has to go right after. And he's not going to fool around with guys down the lower part of the order who've never faced him before, because he realizes he has a distinct advantage. They've never seen him. They don't know what his release point looks like. They don't know what his best pitch, which is his changeup, looks like. And he got Barnhart out that time without even showing him his best pitch.
He attacked both Barnhart and Soto and sent them back to the dugout. Now deals with Homer Bailey, who has 3 hits on the year and 14 ABs. He falls behind him 2-0. Hamels has pretty much averaged a strikeout per inning throughout his career. 8.5 strikeouts per 9 coming into this year. He's just a little over that this year with 24 Ks coming in 23 2/3. Chris mentioned started the year on the disabled list. Makes start number 5 here tonight.
Kind of interesting how first-round draft picks seem to end up producing as much as they're billing. At least a guy like Hamels and Homer Bailey. First-round pick, as you said, in 2002 for the Phillies. Now 30 years old, and he walks the pitcher. How about that? That was the year, by the way, 2002, that the Reds picked 3rd in the draft. And they picked up Chris Grueller. And it never really worked out for Grueller. But, and really nobody else in that draft except the guy that they picked 3rd, which was Joey Votto. So the same year that the Reds picked up Votto, the Phillies picked up Cole Hamels. Both of them out of high school. Interestingly enough, but late in the draft, the Phillies picked up a high school kid out of Missouri by the name of Sam McCure. But he ended up not signing and, of course, going on and becoming a Red.
He was at Texas in those days, wasn't he?
He was indeed. University of Texas.
Yeah, right. Hamilton gets a second look at Cole Hamels. took a called third strike, did not swing the bat to get this game started. Hit last night. He's now hitting 4 of his last 5. Howard plays behind the runner at first, and there's a ground ball to Ashe at third, and Hamilton is retired. And a 0 on the board for the Reds, put up there by the lefty Cole Hamilton. At bat on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. Get live look-ins, instant replay, scores, stats, audio, free MLB.tv game of the day, and much more. Download on the App Store or visit Reds.com today. 1-0 Reds into the bottom of the second as Homer Bailey, who worked around 2-on with nobody out in the first inning by retiring the next 3, will face Cody Ashe to lead things off. Bailey, of course, Chris, has changed that motion around a little bit.
Well, you know, pitchers are like hitters. You're always trying to massage your windup and your delivery. And you're going to see over here on the left that this is back in 2007 when Homer Bailey would put his hands over his head. The one in the middle here, this is a couple of starts ago. And then the one on the right is Homer Bailey's last start. And he decided to go back to the hands over the head windup because he feels like it keeps him over the rubber better. You want to be strong over the rubber, be tall over the rubber as a pitcher, get your balance over the pitching rubber. And he felt like that little adjustment has helped him do that. He pitched the best ball game of the year against the Colorado Rockies his last time out.
That was that 7-inning, 1-run, 4-hit performance. And he picked up the win against Colorado. So he makes that adjustment. Uses it again coming into this game.
You know, for Homer, and I think a lot of pitchers, you know, you're trying to balance out being compact, in balance, under control, but not too slow with your delivery. With the fact that you want to get it going, but you don't want to start getting long and legs and arms going every which way. I think that's one thing that Johnny Cueto has been able to accomplish with that twisting, turning. It seems like it takes a long time, and it does, but it makes him more compact. And it gives him tremendous deception, especially when he flashes that glove coming out of that full turn.
Ashe hits it hard toward the hole, moving to his right. Cozart comes up firing. Nice play by the Red shortstop to retire Cody Ashe, who had 3 hits, including a 9th-inning hit against Aroldis Chapman last night.
Well, if Homer's been paying attention, he will have realized that you're looking at one of the best defenses in all of Major League Baseball right here in the infield. Todd Frazier's been playing Gold Glove third base for a couple of years now. Very solid is Zach Cozart. Of course, Brandon Phillips, in my opinion, there's no one out there better than him. So you put the ball on the ground, there's a good chance they're going to catch it and throw you out. So why not keep the ball down?
Well, the Reds did make an error last night, but noting it was not on the infield, it was in the outfield, and it ended their longest errorless stretch of the year, 10 games, they still are by far the best defensive team in the big leagues.
When you rank them by errors and fielding percentage.
Right.
Of course, there's a lot of other different ways they're trying to figure out how to judge fielders. Zone rating and things like that. But I'm not sure they figured that out yet. But I can tell you by watching these guys, they can pick it.
Ozarks made just one error this year. Frazier's been, as you say, for a guy who didn't come up playing third base, Gold Glove caliber. I thought he was that way last year.
Yeah, he has been. And that was the one thing that people talked about Todd Frazier as maybe being his shortcoming was his defense. But he's worked at it very hard. I think he benefited from the fact of being around Scott Rowland a little while, learning good work habits. It doesn't come. It doesn't. You're not born a good fielder. You make yourself a good fielder. You take a lot of ground balls. You listen to what coaches tell you. You get yourself into fundamental fielding positions. And every day you're out there taking grounders.
Bailey trying to deal here with Dominic Brown. Brown was hitless in the game last night. 0 for 4.
And he was looking terrible too against Alfredo Simon. Simon had him really chasing all sorts of off-speed pitches all night.
Just does stay alive there.
Tell you what, he's got a lot better swings against fastballs than he does against off-speed stuff. Now Simon had it really working last night, the off-speed stuff. In fact, the Phillies were commenting today about how he even, like Brian Pena said, invented some pitches last night.
I did hear the word from Brian Price come out of his mouth, ephus. He said, I don't know, that may have been an ephus pitch. Simon himself called it, I think, a splitter, didn't he?
He did, but he threw it at 67 miles an hour.
Brown battling here with one man out in the bottom of the second. The Phillies, by not scoring in the first, have now equaled their season worst 21 straight innings without scoring a run.
Well, the Reds may be catching them at a good time. They've lost 4 in a row. They've lost 8 of 10.
Long battle there between Bailey and Brown is going to be won by the Reds right-hander as Brown fouls out to Frazier for out number 2. Just a reminder, later on in this game, our Miller Time moment of the broadcast, brought to you by Miller Lite. Here's Tony Gwynn Jr. Reds have yet to see Ben Revere in the Philly lineup, out with a stomach virus, out of the lineup yesterday, out again today. Yesterday was John Mayberry Jr. out there. Today it's Tony Gwynn Jr. He did appear in the game last night late as a pinch hitter. Gwynn, the former Brewer, former Padre, former Dodger the last couple of years. Last year was out of the big leagues overall. He was down in the AAA level for the Dodgers in the Pacific Coast League. This year at 182 with 2 RBIs for Philadelphia. Homer falls behind 3-0. Second inning, and he's almost through it. He's 2/3 of the way through it, but the second inning has been the real bugaboo inning for Bailey in 2014 as he walks Gwynn, and now will deal with a pitcher, Hamels. His ERA is over 11 in the second inning this year.
That walk right there was just a mental lapse. I really believe that when you're down the bottom of the order and you're facing the number 8 guy, not that an 8th guy in the major leagues can't hurt you, because he can, but Homer Bailey should have that guy penciled in his mind as an out. He should do no more than 1 for 4 against him. You got to throw him strikes because he's not a home run hitter. But after you go 2-0, that's when you should take a little mental break. Get off behind the mound, take a lap around the mound, pick up the rosin, retie your shoe, do something to get yourself back into a positive frame of mind.
now it's pitcher versus pitcher.
Yeah, now what's happened is that you got the pitcher up there, and you don't give him the opportunity of leading off the next inning.
Hamels this year 1 for 7. Barnhart's going to throw to first and safe the call down there. Soto put the sweep tag on Tony Gwynn Jr. Boy, it looked like they were going to pick him off.
Well, he was way off the bag. I'm not sure where he's going with the pitcher up right there. But Soto's assuming that he's already back in there, and the first sweep missed him, and the second one was too late. It's a good job getting back into the bag by Gwynn, but
hey, you make a good point. Where is he going with a pitcher at the plate?
Juan Samuel may want to put a leash on him.
No movement. I had my eye on Brian Price down in the dugout. No look at all as to where they might want to take a look at it. Yeah. Hamels strikes out. And we go to the third with the Reds up 1-0. Advantage of the Memorial Weekend offer that's purchased 2 tickets for only $22 and see the Reds take on the St. Louis Cardinals. Plus, don't miss a weekend full of fireworks, giveaways, and much more. Reminder, head to Great American Ballpark for Memorial Day weekend. Take advantage of the 2 for $22 ticket deal. For tickets, 513-381-REDS. Select Kroger locations or Reds.com. Cozart out of the 2 spot in Brian Price's batting order here tonight. Leads things off in the third. He doubled down the left field line, scored the game's only run back in the first. Reds had the bases loaded with 1 out, ended up getting just the 1 run.
You were mentioning how this isn't exactly a strange spot for Cozart to be in, batting in the 2nd spot in the order. I mean, in fact, the only place in the order where he's batted more than the number 2 spot is the leadoff spot.
Bad cut there by Cozart on an 0-2 pitch. He strikes out. That's 4 now by Hamels.
Well, Hamels is an expert at adding and subtracting, and he doesn't necessarily pitch all over the strike zone, but his main deal is take a little bit off, add a little bit on. This time it looks like he just cuts that fastball down and in, and by the time he realizes it's not a breaking ball, it's by you.
So next up for the Reds is Brandon Phillips. Brandon's had a very good month of May. Walked back in the first inning, one of the 2 issued by Hamels thus far. He hit just a .255 in the month of April, Here we are just over the midway point of May. He's at 362 in May. And he finds himself in the hole, 2 strikes. Reds can take advantage today of a Milwaukee loss. The Brewers were beaten at Chicago's Wrigley Field 3-0 by the Cubs, so a win today would put them 6 behind the front-running Brewers. Check swing, and yes, he went around. That's strike 3, so 3 pitches and out goes Brandon Phillips. Hamels has now fanned 4 of the last 6 Reds he's faced and has 5 of them in the game. Two quick outs now for Frazier. Todd had that infield single to keep the first inning going after the Phillips walk and loaded the bases. Then Ludwig had the ground ball force play, which led to the only run. Well, this guy's not messing around at all, is he? He just ran back and throwing strikes.
Yeah, you're going to see it again tomorrow night with Cliff Lee. Maybe a little different stuff overall, but both of these guys, they just attack the strike zone. You better be ready to hit when you step in there. 9th
pitch of the inning. Got him. 3 strikeouts, 9 pitches. Cole Hamels here in the top of the 3rd. He's fanned 6 already in this game. Elk and Elk, serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. How about struggles in interleague play for these 2 organizations?
Well, this year, especially for the Philadelphia Phillies, you see right here, they are 1-8 in interleague play, but overall, neither of these teams have really done all that well. Reds are 13th in the league since interleague play began back in 1997. The Phillies aren't much better. They're actually just a little bit worse at 14th in the league. So the interesting thing here, if you start doing the numbers, and I'm not going to do them in public, but the Reds have not played anywhere near as many interleague games as the Philadelphia Phillies because they've been in a division with an extra team in it for so many years.
There's a blast off the bat of Rollins in the right center, but this is a big ballpark, as Chris was talking about last night, and Hamilton gets over there right in front of the bullpen area to haul that long drive in for an out.
Well, it plays big when it's 65 degrees out. When it's 95 degrees, that ball might be in the bullpen.
Oh, 1 pitch, 1 out. Batter will be Carlos Ruiz. 9 interleague games already this year for Philadelphia, as that graphic showed, they don't have another interleague game again until August. The Reds, meanwhile, their next interleague series is in the middle of June, just about a month from now, at home against the Toronto Blue Jays. Right now, there's a couple of former Reds on that Toronto club. Edwin Encarnacion and Juan Francisco hitting the ball out of the ballpark with some regularity, both of them. Ruiz, a base hit on that hard hit ball to the left of Todd Frazier. That came back in the first inning. Slowly toward third, and Frazier will get that in foul territory.
Well, you were talking about how Ryan Sandberg has been kind of experimenting with his lineup here in Philadelphia the same way Brian Price has. And by moving Ruiz into the number 2 spot, Ruiz has responded. I mean, he's had 24 plate appearances in the number 2 spot. And coming into this ball game, he's hitting nearly .530. So sometimes just moving a guy around, I mean, if you get a hunch, you do it. And it just pays off, at least for a little while it does.
Close but inside to Ruiz, and a 2-ball, 2-strike count.
Batter and pitcher thought that was a strike.
Only one man matters, I guess, and that's Mr. Baker behind home plate.
One a sigh of relief, one a sigh of frustration.
Here comes the 2-2. Same spot, same call. Ruiz basically been the everyday catcher for this Phillies team since 2007 through their World Series years. Utley waits on deck. All-Star in 2012, his only All-Star appearance. Cozart will gobble this ball up. 2 out.
Home run, Chase. Home run.
Time now for you to tweet your photo using hashtag #OhioFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast. Brought to you by AT&T. It's our fan photo of the game. That'll come up a little bit later on. So 2 out. First 2 Phillies reached in the first inning. Rollins a single to right after he fouled a ball over near the Reds dugout, which Barnhart and Frazier both appeared to have a chance on, neither of them which made the play on the ball. And Ruiz had that infield single. Since then, 8 of the last 9 have been retired by Bailey. Homer making career start number 152 tonight. And Deuce Utley on a pop-up in the first out of the first inning for the Phils, his first time up there. Utley's hitting 7 in a row. He hit in the first 11 to start the season. Now a 3-0 count. Ryan Howard waits on deck. 2006, we were talking about earlier, the last time the Reds won a series here in this ballpark. Not been a friendly venue for them. With their victory last night, they have 2 chances tonight and tomorrow afternoon, the 1:35 game, to win the only series they'll play in this ballpark this year. From 3-0 now to 3-2. Rollins fly to center. Ruiz grounded to short. Utley up there now hit off the side of the mound. A fortuitous bounce for the Reds as Phillips got to that ball. He throws Utley out. There's a 1-2-3 third for Homer Bailey. Now for our IGS bringing the energy feature. How about Cole Hamels earlier in this game? Strike 2, strike 3, 3 pitches. That was to Cozart. Now it's Phillips. Pitch 6 of the inning. Sends Phillips back to the dugout. And then he struck out Frazier on 3, 9 pitches, 3 strikeouts, 3rd inning. Our IGS bringing the energy feature, Cole Hamels. He gets Ludwig now to start inning number 4. His RBI, his 16th of the year, produced the only run of this game on that soft ground ball to the second baseman Utley. Remember, he had Frazier bearing down on him. He bobbled the ball, ended up getting the out at first, but the run did score. Ludwig, a pair of home runs lifetime against Hamels. Schumacher and Soto to follow. We're in the 4th. 2 hits apiece on the big scoreboard out in left. 1-0 Reds lead. Ludwig lifts this one to right. Marlon Byrd handles it for the first out. Cole Hamels, as we mentioned earlier, trying to become the 7th pitcher in Phillies history to record his 100th win. He's 4th all-time National League ranking since his debut in 2006, pushing the 250 start limit.
That's only the second ball the Reds have hit out of the infield. That fly ball by Ludwig, the lazy fly to the right fielder. The other one was that double by Cozart. They manufactured a run by hitting it, really nubbing it in the infield there in the 1st inning. Neither of these pitchers right now are showing any signs of having any weakness.
Schumacher jammed on that one, hits it in the air to shallow left and handled easily by Dominic Brown. So 2 fly balls, 2 out. 6 in a row set down by Hamels, and 10 of the last 11 since the infield hit by Frazier back in the 1st. Similar really to what we saw last night out of Kyle Kendrick. Once he got through that 1st inning, he rolled.
And we saw that out of Tyson Ross, a pitcher who finished up that series for the San Diego Padres. He had some trouble in the 1st inning, really tightened it up after that. And that's really the word for most major league starters. Once you get your feet under you, and you start feeling your release point. Then you can start experimenting with your breaking balls more and hitting spots a little bit more. When you come out of the bullpen, you really never know what's going on in the first inning. That's why it's always a tough inning to pitch.
In the hole, and a base hit for Neftali Soto. So he gets just his 3rd hit of the year. And Soto is on with 2 men out. Good to see him make contact, get that ball hard.
Well, I'm sure that he's got a lot of family and friends back in Arecibo, Puerto Rico, watching him, pulling for him. And he gets a breaking ball up right there, and he's able to punch it in the hole for a base hit. So, a little something to build on right there.
Brian Price was asked about inserting Soto into the lineup tonight. There's another hard hit ball, but handled by the former Gold Glover Jimmy Rollins. They get the force out at second on Soto, and that puts an end to the Reds' 4th inning.
Horses Day here in Philadelphia. Jim Day with you out here in right field, and got a couple special Reds fans here. They're from Reynoldsburg, Ohio. Columbus, we like that. At least I like that. This is Michael Casinas and his wife Maureen. Now, big Reds fan right here. Now, the wife told you that you were coming to Philadelphia to take in some theaters and go to the museums, and little did you know that on your 50th birthday she surprised you with front row right field tickets. That's a pretty good surprise.
Oh, I'm flabbergasted. This is amazing. This is amazing.
Pretty good idea.
I think so.
There's no question about it. And on this Armed Forces Day, 21 years he served in the United States Air Force. And, sir, we salute you on this day. Thank you very much for your service, and happy 50th birthday. And you got a wife taking good care of you.
Thank you.
Jim Kelch.
Good story out there, Jim Day. Front row seats in the right field area. Huh?
Tell you what, some good people from up there in Reynoldsburg, Ohio. Congratulations for coming out here, celebrating a big birthday. What a great, I'll tell you what, Jim Day is on his game. Digging up some stories like that, real feel-good stories.
You got to make your way around the ballpark, talk to a lot of people to get those kind of stories.
He's a man of the people.
You don't hear me disagreeing, do you?
No, sir.
Bailey working here against Ryan Howard to get the bottom of the 4th started. Hit the ball hard, but out in the left center his first time, and a ball run down and ultimately caught by Ryan Ludwig. Howard, then Marlon Byrd, then Cody Ashe. Now 3 balls and a strike to Howard. do it again at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Angels were in here prior to the Reds' arrival. They swept 2 games. That was part of that interleague baseball for this Phillies team that has not gone well for them that we were talking about. There is ball 4, close one. But ball 4, Howard is on. Leadoff base runner.
It was almost like in that at bat that Ryan Howard waited him out. He kept fouling off fastball after fastball, and finally Bailey decided, well, I'm going to try to fool him right here and backdoor him with a curveball, which is a great pitch when it works. But I can tell you that is a very difficult pitch to feather right in there on the outside corner. You're danger of leaving it over the plate and get hit hard, or just simply not finishing it because you don't want to leave it over the plate, and you leave it outside for ball 4, especially with the leadoff hitter.
So now it's Marlon Byrd who grounded out to the third baseman Frazier his first time, and a nice diving play down there by Todd. Byrd has hit into 3 double play balls. Down the line at third. Frazier's not going to get this one. This will kick off those seats that jut out out there in the left field, and that's going to be a hit, a double for Byrd. Howard hustles over to third, second and third with nobody out.
And it didn't really look like all that bad of a pitch, really, for Homer Bailey. Down around the knees, but that ball was on the inner part of the plate and just ripped right down the line. Frazier's playing off the bag a couple of steps, and you couldn't place it any better than that.
14th double of the year for Marlon Byrd. Now here the Phillies, over their last 19 with runners in scoring position, and they hope on the verge of ending 23 straight innings without producing a run. Cody Ashe at the dish. Hit the ball hard, but retired on a ground ball to the shortstop Cozart his first time.
He had a good night last night. Ashe did. He was batting in the 8th spot. Ended up with 3 hits last night, a double and a couple of singles.
Nice high total, yeah.
Yeah, good short swing.
There's a good pitch by Bailey, and now he has Ashe set up.
Yeah, this could work out great for the Reds, but you really need, this is the guy that you want to get a strikeout out of.
Former Cornhusker from the University of Nebraska, Cody Ashe. Stays alive with that swing. Ashe made his big league debut with the Phillies last year. Got off to a terrible start upon being called up right near the end of July. 1 for his first 17. Really, those last 2 months of the year, he was the everyday third baseman for this Phillies team, taking over basically from Michael Young when he was traded over to the Dodgers. With the charge into this ball, shoots it into right. That will go to the wall. Scoreless drought for the Phillies comes to an end as both Howard and Byrd score, and the Phillies take a 2-1 lead here in the bottom of the 4th.
Now that breaks their 0-for streak with runners in scoring position. And Homer Bailey would really love to have this pitch back. An 0-2 count. If you're going to miss it off the plate, at the very worst, you hit the batter in the thigh. But he misses right down Broadway, and Ashe with a quick swing gets it down the right field line. Well, you know, with the kind of swing that Ashe had on that breaking ball earlier in the count, I'm really wondering why he decided to try to throw a fastball by him. Maybe he just missed his spot.
Now he deals with another lefty, Dominic Brown. That pitch down and in, so much so that Tucker Barnhart will go to the hill and talk with the right-hander. Walk to Howard on a close 3-2 pitch. A double by the diving third baseman Frazier, down to third by Marlon Byrd. And that fastball, after being ahead of the count to Ashe by Bailey, sitting over the heart of the plate, and he knew exactly what to do with it. Doubled home a pair. And Phillies lead 2-1, and Ashley's RBI total now at 14. And Bailey misses again, and he's at 2-0. Ball 3. Brown fouled out his first time. All-Star a year ago, had a tremendous power year, particularly in the month of May when he darn near homered every other game. Swings here, corks one into right. Second deck shot for Dominic Brown. Only his second home run of the year. Phillies have produced 4 runs in the inning.
Well, a fastball pretty much in the hot zone for Dominic Brown. Boy, as bad as he looked last night on the breaking ball. I mean, he looked horrible on the breaking ball. Alfredo Simon had him all out of whack. He's in the big leagues for a reason, and it's obviously because he can hit a fastball.
The Phillies have gotten a walk, a double, and a home run, and now lead 4-1. On the check swing, a strike. No balls, 2 strikes. A little over a month ago, when Brown hit his first home run against the Braves' Luis Avilan, 14th of April. And Homer here tonight against Homer Bailey. 9th given up by Homer this year. Phils break their scoreless drought. They break their streak, as Chris mentioned, of unable to come through with runners in scoring position. Now they get another base hit here from Tony Gwynn Jr. He's been on twice. All 5 Phillies batters who have come to the plate in this inning have reached. Here comes Jeff Pico, pitching coach of the Reds, out of the dugout.
They're going to get some action up in the Reds bullpen, and of course they have not been used all that much down there lately with the way that the starting pitching has been. Those guys have been like Maytag repairmen, but tonight they've got action early on. I'm not sure what Jeff Pico said to Homer Bailey, except that, hey, you got the pitcher up here, you need to get this guy out.
Big man Logan Ondrusek will start to heat up out in the Reds bullpen.
5 have come up, all have reached base, 4 have scored, nobody out in the inning.
Hamels a strikeout victim his first time. Has a sacrifice this year, 1. Tried to move the runner along there unsuccessfully. 4-1 Phillies in the bottom of the 4th. Hamels been on top of his game on the pitching side of things after he got through that first inning. Could have been much worse for him. Reds settled for 1. Had but 2 base runners since then. To Frazier. Boy, he thought long and hard about second, but ends up giving it to Phillips at first for the out there and the sacrifice bunt. All right, now on FoxSportsOhio.com, Kevin Goheen has more on what Joey's injury means to the Reds. Jermaine Lawrence has officially let the Bearcat basketball program and left them to be closer to his ailing father. Plus, check out Sam Amico's NBA Combine Notebook. Get complete coverage of all of today's action involving Ohio sports on FoxSportsOhio.com. Brought to you by 1-800-SAFE-AUTO. Drive safe, spend less. Tony Gwynn Jr. down at second base on the sacrifice, executed by Cole Hamels, and on the top of the order and Jimmy Rollins. Talking earlier about the fact that Rollins, he had a base hit in the first inning, now just 23 hits away from setting the Phillies' all-time franchise hit record. Currently tied for third with Ed Delahanty, trailing only Mike Schmidt and Richie Ashburn. Schmidt with 2,234 is the all-time leader. Jimmy Rollins now with 2,212. Richie Ashburn second, 2,217. Former Phillies broadcaster as well, Richie Ashburn.
Mike Schmidt, the current Phillies broadcaster, he'll be here in the booth, in their TV booth tomorrow, as he is every Sunday.
Well, they're rotating what, three color commentators. It take 3 men to do your job for the Phillies.
Well, Jimmy Rollins really lately has kind of changed his approach. He's being much more patient at the plate. He saw 24 pitches last night in his 4 plate appearances against Alfredo Simon. Taking more walks. They need him to get on base. If Ben Revere is not going to be able to come back and get the job done in the leadoff spot.
An interesting story out of spring training, probably pretty early on, regarding Jimmy Rollins and Freddie Galvis, who's also an infielder, and Ryne Sandberg, about not playing 2 or 3 days in a row by Rollins, and the media questioning that, and Ryne Sandberg saying, in effect, I like Galvis's hustle.
Well, I mean, he sat Jimmy Rollins. They had a little bit of a row, really kind of a taking shots at each other back and forth in the media. They finally had a meeting and cleared it, but essentially Ryne Sandberg sat Jimmy Rollins for 3 games and said, essentially, I am the manager. You're the superstar, but I've been a superstar, and I'm the manager now.
You have to establish your territory, right?
And there was all sorts of trade talk about Jimmy Rollins and so on. Of course, he's got no trade ability here, having been a major leaguer for 10 years and 5 years with the same team. Ryne Sandberg has inherited a ball club that is old. They're maybe on the backside of their best years. They've got a demanding fan base. Not an easy spot to come in as a freshman manager.
Ball yanked foul down the line. Rollins is second in Phillies history in games played. Playing tonight in his 990th game. And again, second only to Mike Schmidt, who appears to hold every franchise record. No one has played shortstop in more games in Philly history than Jimmy Rollins.
Well, to the point of him having 24 pitches last night, seen in 4 plate appearances. His first at bat tonight was 7 pitches. This will be the 9th pitch of this at bat. So when he wants to, he can be pesky.
Swings and misses on the 3-2. Second out of the inning.
Runs a four-seam fastball right upstairs and throws it by him. That's a tough pitch to hit for anybody. I mean, you throw the ball right underneath the hitter's hands, there are just simply not that many guys that can get to it. But it's a hard spot to hit.
Eighth man to bat in the inning now is the Phillies catcher, Carlos Ruiz. He shoots it out into right center. That's going to produce another Phillies run. Tony Gwynn Jr. scores, but a 5-run inning. Second hit by Ruiz. And it's 5-1 Philadelphia. Here comes Brian Price. Homer Bailey is not going to make it through the fourth inning here tonight. He had been in charge through 3, but the fourth inning tonight, his undoing. Logan Ondrusek has been throwing in the Reds bullpen. Brian Price will take the ball from the LaGrange, Texas native. This is our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. Ondrusek enters the game. Food Group. Let's create great dishes together. By Toyota. For over 30 Toyota offers, visit buyatoyota.com. And by B-Dubs. Spend $30 on a gift card for dads and grads, and they'll give you a $5 bonus. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports. Sun setting here in Philadelphia. Last night, a good night so far, although it's only the fourth inning. Reds on the short end of a 5-1 score as Homer Bailey contemplates this, his ninth start of the year. It ends after 3 2/3 innings.
Well, you have a start like Homer Bailey did tonight where he was clearly in control the first 3 innings, and all of a sudden, for some reason, loses it in the fourth. And you go over that in your mind. All right, what batter did I lose it on? I mean, he walked Ryan Howard to start the inning. Not bad pitch to Marlon Byrd, who hit a double. But then he hangs a pitch to Cody Ash on an 0-2 count, and that's the one that's going to keep him awake all night long. Meanwhile, Logan Ondrusek comes in for the second time in a couple of days. He was prone to wildness his last time out. He walked 3 batters in 2/3 of an inning against the Padres in that 6-1 loss on Sunday. Not Sunday, on Wednesday.
That ball went right in on Chase Utley. Did he get hit or did he not? It looked like he may have gotten plunked by that. Apparently he did not. Bounced off the glove of Barnhart. Down to second base goes Ruiz.
I attributed the wildness that Ondrusek had his last time out just a couple of days ago to the fact that he was rusty. He hadn't pitched in 5 or 6 days. But there's no such excuse right now.
Yeah, he had walked 2 all year. In 10 appearances, he walked 3 in the 2/3 of an inning in the second game on Thursday. He's fallen behind 2-0. That pitch, by the way, I thought hit Utley, bounced in there at about 50 feet.
You can still get hit by a pitch that bounces. Doesn't have to hit you on a fly.
Ninth man to bat in the inning is Utley.
In fact, they hurt a lot less when they bounced first.
A little giddy up off of him. Howard on deck. No runs in 23 innings. And now 5 thus far here in the fourth by the Phillies. And another hit by Utley. That's going to mean still another run. Billy Hamilton's throw goes through, but sliding across successfully is Carlos Ruiz. That run charged to Homer Bailey. That will put an end to his line. 6 runs, 7 hits, 3 2/3 innings for Bailey. The most runs he'd given up in a game this year. After going over their last 19 with runners in scoring position, the Phillies have now gone 4 of 5 in this inning. Howard, who led off the inning with a walk on a close 3-2 breaking ball, bats again. Two and one now to Howard. And now an even count of 2-2. Swing and a miss. An off-speed delivery from Andrusik gets Howard and finally puts an end to the Philly fourth. They do major damage. They push 6 runs across. Ballpark. Take advantage of the Memorial Weekend offer. Purchase 2 tickets for only $22. Cheer on the Reds May 23rd through the 25th, and they take on the St. Louis Cardinals. Don't miss the weekend full of fun, baseball, fireworks, and giveaways. Purchase the Memorial Weekend offer now by calling 513-381-RED. You can also visit select Kroger locations or log on to reds.com/tickets. A 6th spot for the Phillies in the bottom of the 4th inning, and they lead this game 6-1. Logan Ondrusek, who came in to pitch, will bat for the first time since 2010. He's 0 for 4 lifetime with 4 strikeouts, and here he is at the plate now. Bailey's final line: 6 runs, 7 hits in 3 2/3. A couple of walks, a couple of strikeouts, a home run ball. Can only win, can only lose, I should say, cannot be the winner. Ondrusek takes a big home run cut there and misses. .92 pitches for Homer Bailey. Boy, after that very fine outing against a offensive-minded Colorado club his last time out, it's roughed up in 1 inning here in Philadelphia in the 4th after 3 pretty good innings through the first 3. Ondrusek stays alive at 3-2. Billy Hamilton on deck. Reds led 1-0 with a run in the first. That 6th spot has given the Phillies the lead now as Ondrusek becomes the 7th strikeout victim of Cole Hamels. No reservations for the Fan Express to Reds Country are filling up fast. To get your group involved and on board the Fan Express, call the Reds Group Sales Office. That number 513-765-7600. Here's Billy Hamilton. Chopped to third. Ashe makes the play. Hamilton is out. 2 up, 2 down. That long stretch in the dugout didn't appear to bother Hamels at all.
Well, he's been throwing strikes all night long and just challenging Reds hitters. You know, something happens when you face a team that you simply owned in your career, and that's the way Hamels has been against the Reds. Lifetime 7-0. Phillies have won 10 of the last games that he has started against the Reds. 1.7 earned run average during that period of time. I mean, so here's a guy that missed some time early in the year, came into spring training with a sore shoulder, set him back a little bit, but he's pitching like he is in midseason form tonight. And oftentimes it takes a team that you really do well against to give you that confidence. You just go out there and you pitch your game, even if there are different players in those uniforms.
You mentioned an intriguing number there: 10 starts and 10-0 against the Reds. Even though he didn't get the wins,
the Phillies are.
The Phillies are 10-0 in the games that he has started against them. Now Cozart will pop it up. This will be the second 1-2-3 inning of the night for Cole Hamels as Howard handles that. Reds go in order in the top of the 5th. action 30 minutes before the start of every game. That's with Reds Live, presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing, on your exclusive home of Reds baseball, right here, Fox Sports Ohio. We'll come at you again tomorrow. Game time here is 1:35, an afternoon affair. That means Jeff Pecoro, Brian Giesenslaw will get things started with Reds Live beginning at 1 o'clock straight up. Marlon Byrd will bat first here in the bottom of the 5th. He had a double as part of that 6-run, 6-hit 4th inning for the Phillies. Byrd, then Ashe, then Brown. All three had extra base hits in the 4th. First full inning worth of work now for Logan Ondrusek. Retired one of the 2 batters he faced in the 4th. He's worked more than 1 inning in only 1 game this year. That was his season's debut. In fact, that was opening day against the Cardinals. Ondrusek worked an inning and a third. Only time this year he's worked more than 1 inning. Charging Frazier. Good stretch by Soto on the receiving end, and Byrd is 1 for 3 with that 5-3 ground out. Here comes Cody Ashe now. He's tonight's Steel Power Tool Performer of the night. 4 for 6 so far in this series. Chris talked earlier about that 3-hit night he had last night, including the hit late against Aroldis Chapman. Big 2-run double here tonight in the 6-run 4th.
Had a chance to talk to some of the Phillies coaches about Cody Ashe before the game, and he had a big night last night. They have not seen that all year long from Ashe, but they like him. He's only 23 years old, in the major leagues now. Came up last year. Got a lot of learning to do, but he's quick to the baseball, quick to the hitting zone, and they like that. I mean, you're just looking for youth. If you're running this ball club right now and you look up and down the roster and just about everybody you see is 34, 35, 36 years old, you're looking for some youth presence.
Yeah, even the that's a hard hit ball and a nice play by Neftali Soto to feed Ondrusek and get the out on Cody Ashe. Even the free agents that the Phillies went out and signed in the offseason. Byrd, we saw earlier, Roberto Hernandez, who appeared in the game last night out of the bullpen, and then they re-signed the veteran Carlos Ruiz to a multi-year deal.
If they feel that they can win this year, and they really do believe that this division is wide open, that there's no reason to go out and try to rebuild with half your roster under contract that you're going to have to pay them money anyway. So Phillies have some tough decisions to make in the next few years in that regard. One thing they've had going for them over the last few years, they've had tremendous draws, attendance booming here in Philadelphia. That's dropped off a little bit.
Well, despite how poorly they have played, and they are 4-9 in the month of May, the Phillies, they are still only 4.5 games out. They're 5 under. The Reds are 2 under. And if they are standings wise, 2.5 games better off than the Reds. Reds need to come from behind here to take advantage of that Milwaukee loss this afternoon. And we're going to see one of the top teams in this division, the Washington Nationals, beginning on Monday night. They're a half game behind Atlanta the start of the day. One of the pitchers that will go in that series will be Steven Strasburg. Doug Fister, the former Detroit Tiger, is another. Tanner Roark, a right-hander, 3-game winner thus far. In the air by Brown to center. Billy Hamilton calls and has it. And a nice inning by Logan Ondrusek. He retires the Phillies in order. before the Reds against the Brewers at Great American Ballpark. Answer our Reds trivia questions to win great prizes and be featured, yes, on Reds Live. Join in the fun on Friday night at 6 at the Holy Grail in the Banks. Of course, the Reds don't play the Brewers this Friday night. They play the St. Louis Cardinals at Great American Ballpark, that weekend series. 1 week from last night, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, St. Louis will be in town. Phillips leads off here in the 6th. 4 in a row set down by Cole Hamels. And 10 of the last 11. Brandon has walked and struck out. Ashe bobbles it, picks it up in time to throw Phillips out at first. Thought he had the help of the fact that that ball was hit hard by Brandon Phillips, but out.
Now, one thing is certain, Cole Hamels is going to force the Reds, if they're going to get back into this ball game, he will force them to hit their way back into this game. Normally, when you're 5 runs down, it's difficult to do without the help of the pitcher, maybe walking a few batters here and there, giving the team that is behind some opportunity. This guy just continues to attack the strike zone.
We mentioned he's looking for his 100th career victory wearing a Phillies uniform. If he gets it, he'll be the 7th in franchise history to hit triple figures. If he gets it, he'll be 1 behind Curt Schilling, next on the list at 101. Boy, their top 7, if he gets in there, will be chock full of left-handers also. Kurt Simmons at 115, Chris Short at 132. Steve Carlton, the top all-time Phillies winner with 241 wins.
Simply nicknamed Lefty.
Robin Roberts, although he's a right-hander, second on the list at 234. Carlton had that big wind-up, that leg kick, drop those arms way down. You don't see that kind of thing anymore.
No, you don't. It's kind of interesting, really. Having had a talk with a couple of the reporters around here, and a lot of people are buzzing about the fact that in town are the Reds and that Johnny Cueto is right now the best pitcher in all of baseball. And they see that delivery, and he's been under the radar, for a couple of years. We've seen him pitch. We know how good he is, but now all of a sudden the national media is taking a note of it. And they want to know about that delivery and how much has it changed. And one thing that you see with a unusual delivery like Johnny Cueto, it's so different now because so many pitchers seem to be coming out of the same mold, where they've learned how to pitch at a pitching school or an academy, and there's not as much creativity as there used to be with pitchers throwing sidearm with different deliveries, herky jerky stuff. Now you're getting advice at a young age to kind of get everybody in the same mold, much in the way you've seen the same thing happen in the world of golf. I was going to bring a golf reference in eventually.
I haven't noticed that in the world of golf. It's what we're talking about with Steve Carlton.
Drop his hands, big high leg kick, and there is a Steve Carlton slider. Now, Carlton was a little different cat, too. He was a guy that was like a 4th degree black belt. He had his own conditioning program that he did. They had a conditioning guy here named Gus Heffling for years, who was very unconventional. In fact, he had all these guys doing a martial arts based conditioning program where you would dig your hands into garbage cans full of rice and go through a program where you do kicks and lunges and punches and so on, all based around martial arts. And it worked for a lot of pitchers, especially Steve Carlton.
Cole Hamill has it working tonight. He sets down the Reds in order for the third time.
Advantage of the Memorial Weekend offer. Purchase 2 tickets for only $22 to see the Reds take on the Cardinals. Plus Friday, May 23rd, stick around after the game for a spectacular post-game fireworks show. It's presented by PNC Bank. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or log on to reds.com/tickets. And Jim Day back with you, down back beside the Reds dugout. Get lots of messages on a daily basis. What is up with Matt Latos? How's he doing in his progress coming back from elbow problems? Well, he made another step today. He threw another bullpen session here in Philadelphia, and this one went well again. He threw 35 pitches. Now, the big thing is the curveball. When he threw it last time, they had to shut him down because it gave him some irritation. He threw the curveball finally today and came out unscathed. And Brian Price told me the next step is that simulated game. It will be Tuesday in Washington, D.C., and that might be the final step, if all goes well, for him to go out on a rehab assignment in the minors. And by the way, if Jay Bruce is okay on Tuesday, he will be one of the hitters in that simulated game. So they'll kill 2 birds with 1 stone there, boys.
Well, that is great news from Matt Latos indeed.
I'll tell you, Jim, I can't wait for you to give a report on Tuesday. You get out to the Nationals Park early on. You'll probably throw that simulated game sometime around 1:30 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon and give us a report on Tuesday night to see how Latos is coming along, because he can't be too healthy or too good.
It'll be an experience to watch Matt throw that simulated game, and then he'll get out. And I've heard Brian Price, I think, say 2, maybe 3 starts out on rehab, depending on how it goes for him. Not out of the realm of possibility that we could see Matt Latos in early June.
Probably ready to get him out of the dugout.
No, Jim Day is, because he showers him with sunflower seeds most nights. On the run out there in right center is Schumacher. He'll get to that ball as J.J. Hoover retires the first batter he faces, Tony Gwynn Jr. Hoover becoming the 3rd Reds pitcher. J.J. back in his home state here of Pennsylvania. He was born in Pittsburgh, went to high school at Ford High in Elizabeth, Pennsylvania. Here's Hamels, a strikeout and a sacrifice bunt tonight. He's a strikeout victim, 2 out. We're talking last night about Kyle Kendrick, the Phillies starter. Took the loss last night. He's now had 15 straight starts without a win. Hamels has not won yet this year through 4 starts, but he only has to go back 6 starts to find a win. He won last year at Washington on September the 14th, so no stretch like Kendrick, but still hard to believe he hasn't won based on what we're seeing out of him tonight.
Well, you're right, but it's a ball club over the last few years that has been having a harder and harder time winning. It wasn't all that long ago. In fact, it was 2011 when they were last in the playoffs. They won 102 games that year. 2012 they were even, 81 and 81.
Drive by Rollins to right. Schumacher reading it onto the warning track, and he makes the catch.
And last year they only won 73 ball games. So wins are tough to come by, pitchers or not.
For tonight's Honda game summary, Phillies scored 6 times in the 4th inning. That's a 2-run double into the right field corner by Cody Ashley. Then Dominic Brown unloaded. Only his 2nd home run of the year. Here's Carlos Ruiz with a base hit and an RBI. All part of that 6-run 4th. And they, of course, have had big work out of this guy, the left-hander Cole Hamels, with a couple of walks, but 9 strikeouts in this game. He's been on top of his action tonight. 6-1, Phillies in front into the 7th. That's our Honda game summary. Toward the middle, but cut off by Utley, and out at first base is Skip Schumacher, who's now 0 for 3 tonight. 8 in a row now retired by Cole Hamels, and 18 of the last 20 that have come up there against him. Here's Neftali Soto. Started to say earlier that Brian Price was asked about Neftali Soto being in the lineup tonight. Pena had been in there last night. Pena being a switch hitter, could have turned around, hit from the right side. He said Soto has a history in the minor leagues of hitting better against lefties than righties. We really like to give him a chance. Last 3 years, last year he hit .324 against lefties. That was at Louisville. 2 years ago he hit only .220 against lefties. AA in 11, he hit .339. So his numbers do tell you, by and large, that he's had more success against left-handers. He takes strike 3 there. So while he did have a hit in the 4th, he has struck out twice tonight.
Well, he'll tell you there are no Cole Hamels down in AAA. Our flamethrower of the night. This is our Cholula hot sauce strikeout. He'll come back action on that fastball, and that is 10 of them now for Cole Hamels.
Slowly hit to third by Barnhart. Ashe makes the play. And the Reds go in order for the third consecutive innings. The fourth time in this game against Cole Hamels. Down for you. Get the first interview with the manager of the Reds, Brian Price, and players. That's Reds Live postgame, brought to you by King's Honda in the King's Auto Mall. How about a John Morrell hot dog play of the game? It just happened. Ended the top of the seventh inning. Tucker Barnhart, that chopper to Cody Ashe at third. The bare hand pick and throw. John Morrell hot dog play of the game, turned in by the Phillies third baseman. New pitcher off for the Reds, their fourth of the night. This is Sean Marshall.
Yeah, it's one of those nights that Brian Price, if nothing else, can at least get some of the rust off his relievers out there. This is not the way you want to do it. You'd rather be up 8-1 or 9-1 and bring your bullpen in that case than when you're down by 5. But certainly no less incentive for a guy like Marshall or Hoover or Andrusik to come in and throw 0 up on the board. Phillies scored all their runs in the fourth inning, and all of them against Homer Bailey.
Well, Marshall, like Andrusik, like Hoover, threw in the game on Thursday night. That second game of the doubleheader against the Padres. Allowed a run, 3 hits, and 1 1/3 in that game. Gave up the home run ball to Everett Cabrera. Here he is working in the 7th inning against Carlos Ruiz. Well, the Reds scored all their runs in the 1 inning last night. The 3rd, and now Marshall hits Ruiz to start the bottom of the 7th. The 6-run 4th, by the way, the biggest run production in an inning by a Reds opponent this year.
Now, no harm meant right here. That was just simply a slider that he held on to too long.
The batter will be Chase Utley, who has a hit tonight. He's 1 for 3. The RBI single in the 4th kept Utley's hitting streak alive, now at 8 games.
Now, everybody can have a bad game in Arizona tonight. They were hosting the Los Angeles Dodgers, and the Dodgers were pitching Clayton Kershaw, I think about his 4th start of the year. And the Arizona Diamondbacks have scored 7 runs off of Kershaw in the first 2 innings, have knocked them out of the ball game. But that's not even the big news coming out of Arizona.
No, it's not.
Arizona today, I was going to ask you about that. What do you think about the Diamondbacks naming Tony La Russa to come in the front office and oversee the entire baseball operation?
Yeah, his title is the Chief Baseball Officer. He'll report to Derek Hall,
who's the owner or the president.
He'll oversee everything baseball operations wise, and I guess he teams up again with Dave Duncan
and Mark McGwire.
And McGuire's with the Dodgers.
He was with the Dodgers. You're right.
But yeah, Dave Duncan is a special assistant, a pitching consultant for the Diamondbacks, and now Tony La Russa, who most recently has been working as a special assistant to Bud Selig in the commissioner's office. Well, Tony La Russa has had, you can't deny, whether you love him or hate him, Marty calls him Mr. Baseball.
Well,
you love him or hate him, the man has simply succeeded.
You're right. He's won 3 World Series, 6 league championships, 4-time manager of the year, and he managed for 33 seasons. So I would say he knows a little bit about the game of baseball, and that Diamondback ball club this year, that whole organization could use a lift. I imagine that he'll be looking at every aspect of it.
See that CB on the Phillies jerseys? We saw it a lot last night, saw it again tonight. You're wondering what that stands for. It stands for Claire Betts. She was a part owner of the Phillies baseball team, died right in the early days of February of this year. She had inherited her part ownership of the club from her husband, John, who had bought into the team back in 1981. That's Claire Betts, B-E-T-Z, is what the CB stands for. What do you think of Tony La Russa and that whole situation?
You know, it's kind of typical of a guy who's made his entire life out of baseball. You get it in your blood and you just can't walk away. As successful as Tony has been, I'm sure that now not being in baseball on a day-to-day basis left a void. And he wanted to get back in the business and do something that he's been good at. So more power to Tony La Russa. Now the run differential as far as the number of runs you score versus the number of runs you give up. Now when you're grouped in with the Houston Astros, who of course in the middle of a rebuilding program, not good. That pitching staff down in Arizona has really been beaten around early on.
You know,
they're beginning to get it together.
Particularly our guy, Bronson Arroyo.
Yeah.
Really pitching very well lately. One of the quotes that was in the story that I read regarding the hiring of Tony La Russa is that he, along with Kirk Gibson and Derek Hall, will evaluate every aspect of the baseball operation side of the Diamondbacks. That's a team that gotten off to a terrible, terrible start. You've not been working hard at getting the job done, I'd be a little worried right now. Full count to Howard with 2 on and no one out here in the bottom of the 7th. Mike Adams has been up and throwing in the Phillies bullpen. Cole Hamels could very well be finished after 7.
Well, remember that they pushed him for 133 pitches his last time out over 7 innings. And he didn't think that was a big deal. His quote after the ball game was saying, "Hey, I felt fine. I am here to pitch." I think a lot too much has been made about pitch counts, especially when you get to the 100 pitch count and all of a sudden you start biting your fingernails that the guy's arm's going to fall off. I mean, we have seen an epidemic of Tommy John surgeries this year. I don't think that anybody is tying them at all to overuse of pitchers, because if anything, pitchers are throwing fewer pitches now than ever before, and they're getting hurt much faster and more frequently than ever before.
Of course, Jose Fernandez recently added to that list, and I believe I saw Texas Ranger pitcher Martin Perez. Didn't I see that? His name recently added to that list, having Tommy John surgery. The total is up right near 20. 18, 19, 20 pitchers have undergone Tommy John surgery since spring training started.
Now we're talking about major leaguers this year.
40-man roster.
And let's face it, in the last 5 or 6 years, there have been really much more attention paid to pitch counts than ever before. Managers have been very careful not to go over the 120 or the 130 pitch count. Yet pitchers are getting injured more frequently than ever. There's 1,000 different theories out there as to why this is happening. There's Sam LeCure. And no one's been able to put their, to give an exact reason why. I thought a very interesting theory was floated the other day in an article written by Peter Gammons, who suggested that the reason there are more Tommy John injuries and surgeries now is because of MRIs, that you're actually diagnosing UCL tears that you never diagnosed 20 years ago or 30 years ago. The guy was just injured and washed up.
Toward the mound, Marshall will flip it on to the plate. They get the force out there. Marlon Byrd hits that ball a little bit harder. That could be a 1-2-3 double play, but as it turns out, they get Ruiz and the force out at the plate. Pitcher to the catcher. Now the bases are loaded with 1 out for Cody Ashe. Make sure I'm understanding what you're saying. You're saying that they didn't know that these were on their collateral ligament.
Before you had an MRI that would begin to diagnose that it was a partial tear or something like that, he just had an elbow problem. And you took an x-ray, you didn't know it was a UCL tear or that needed Tommy John surgery, and that pitcher would simply be washed up. Now they're being coddled, they're being taken care of more and more throughout minor leagues, throughout high school and college, as far as pitch counts and so on. So a fragile UCL that may have been damaged when a kid is in his early teens now gets to the major leagues, and that's when he blows up, whereas before he may have never gotten here because of the injury. So anyway, I thought it was an interesting theory.
It is an interesting theory.
Maybe there aren't more than ever before. They just happen to be occurring at this level because they get here, whereas before they would never have gotten here.
By the diving Phillips is going to produce another Phillies run. Scoring from third is Utley. Cody Ashe, who had 3 hits last night, has himself a 3 RBI night here this evening. And it's now 7-1 Phillies.
Like a hanging breaking ball right there, a slider that never did get down below the belt. And Cody Ashe, who has been really struggling coming into this series, has swung the bat like Ted Williams.
He had been 2 for his last 22 entering last night's game. You like his quick swing, though.
He's quick to the ball. There's no question about it. I'm going really by what the Philly coaches are telling me, that the kid's going to be a good hitter down the road, and Reds are showing that he's being a pretty good hitter in this series.
Well, here now is Dominic Brown. He had that 2-run homer back in the 4th inning. That's significant in the fact that, remember, he had the big home run year here for the Phillies last year. Hit 27 of them, but really tailed off in the second half. Went into last night's game with 1 home run in his last 228 at-bats, plus 4 last night, 1 in his last 232, plus 1 tonight. So he finally hit a home run after hitting only 1 in his last 233 at-bats. Now he's going to drive in some more runs with that ball on the right field line. Howard scores. Byrd scores. Ashe scores. 3-run double off the bat of Dominic Brown, who has a 5 RBI night. This has been a 4-run inning, and it is 10-1 Phillies.
Well, another hanging breaking ball right there. I mean, you hang it on the inner part of the plate, a big looper like that usually gets walloped. There's just not enough hook on it to get that into foul territory.
It's a new career high for Dominic Brown. 5 RBIs in this game. Tony Gwynn Jr. bats now. Jonathan Broxton gets up, starts to loosen in the Reds bullpen. Only 1 out in the inning. Reds, most runs the Reds have given up in a game this year was the 11, which they gave up in that 11-2 loss to Colorado in the second game of that series last week at Great American Ballpark. Now they've given up 10 in this game. Win is the second out of the inning. Well, Hamels will be lifted for the pinch hitter. John Mayberry Jr. will come on. So Hamels finished after 7 and 90 pitches. He retired the last 10 he faced, 16 of the last 17. How about that? You mentioned it earlier. 3 nights in a row now, and 3 opposing pitchers who had shaky first innings and then really settled down. Last night with Kendrick, second game of the doubleheader on Thursday with Tyson Ross. Mayberry started in center field last night for the Phils. Went 0 for 3. Comes into this game hitting but 125 with a homer and 4 batted in. Well, the way things have been going for Philadelphia tonight, they're breaking all sorts of streaks. This is a pinch hitter. They have been in a terrible slump out of their pinch hitters. 0 for the last 18. Mayberry batting here as Marshall uncorks that one.
Boy, Tucker Barnhart missed that one twice. He missed it on the way in, then he missed it on the way back. Might want to follow it around and see what it eats.
I said wild pitch on that. I just noticed that they charged Barnhart with a pass ball on that.
Well, they should have, because it didn't bounce until it hit off the brick wall behind home plate. I think it was just a cross up that he was looking breaking ball and Marshall threw him a fastball.
Barnhart jumped a little bit on that pitch back there as well. John Marshall hasn't taken a beating like this in a while. Well, he was so good for the Reds. Started the year on the disabled list. It's an extra base hit by John Mayberry Jr. down the left field line. With a long stretch of ineffectiveness out of the Phillies pinch hitters also ends on this night. For the last 18 by the pinch hitters goes by the wayside.
Well, it's the kind of night that if you're a reliever that doesn't get a lot of innings under your belt, it can just ruin your earned run average for months. Marshall's a lot better than what he has shown tonight. He has picked the wrong night to hang a few pitches up in the zone, and that will be all as Brian Price has made his way out to the mound, at least to the home plate umpire, to announce a double switch or maybe even a triple switch.
Neftali Soto has left the game. Brian Pena has come on to play first base. Sam LeCure, who had been throwing in the pen, now will enter the game. Sam LeCure, second pitcher of this inning, fifth of the game for the Reds. They'll try to get the final out here in the bottom of the seventh. So the Phillies, who put 6 up in the fourth, have now put 5 more up here in the seventh inning. And the 11 that they have scored in this game equals the most the Reds have given up in a game this season. Jimmy Rollins is scheduled to do the duties at the plate, but now a pinch hitter off the bench is Reed Brignac. So for the second time tonight, the Phillies have hit around. 9th man to come to the plate in the inning. Former Tampa Bay Ray, Brignac. He's 0 for 3 with this club this year. He bats for Jimmy Rollins. Called up 9 days ago from their AAA club at Lehigh Valley. He was hitting .284 down there. 5 home runs and 21 batted in. His career numbers in the big leagues. He's played the infield positions minus first base. He's also started games left field, right field in his big league career. So Brignac bats here for Jimmy Rollins in the bottom of the seventh. Brignac is 28 years old, free agent signee by the Phillies in the offseason. They said most of his time has been with Tampa Bay. He's worn the big league uniform briefly last year with the Rockies and the Yankees.
Well, he takes a hack, doesn't he?
Not get cheated, that's for sure. A hit batsman, 2 walks, 3 hits, including a pair of doubles. The downfall for Sean Marshall in this inning. He's given up 5 runs in 2/3 of an inning. The runner at second base, Mayberry, the responsibility of the tall left-hander. McCure trying to put an end to it here. We mentioned that Brian Pena came in. He's at first base. He goes into the 9 spot if you're scoring along. He's in the 9 hole, and he'll bat first in the 8th. Phillies sent 10 men to the plate in the 6-run 4th. And this is the 9th batter to come up here in what has been a 5-run 7th. Cole Hamels will join, it appears, the triple-digit win club in Philly history, the 7th to do so, with his 100th win tonight. McCure gets Brignac on strikes, and we head to the 8th inning here at Citizens Bank Park. Tonight, all Phillies. Miller Lite, not from this game, but how about September the 4th, 1999? The Reds put some charges into these balls against the Phillies. That's Paul Bird that we just were seeing there. 9 home runs in this game. How about Aaron Boone, Dimitri Young, Jeffrey Hammonds, Eddie Taubensee, Greg Vaughn, Pokey Reese, Taubensee again, Brian Johnson, Mark Lewis. Boy, we could use some of those tonight. That was in Philadelphia. How about those sleeveless uniforms?
That was the old ballpark, too.
Yeah, Veterans Stadium. 9 home runs in that game. September the 4th, 1999. Miller time moment of the night. New pitcher on, meanwhile, is Jake Diekman for Philadelphia. He relieves Cole Hamels, who gives up a run on 3 hits in 7 innings with 10 strikeouts. Diekman takes over.
Diekman, like his third baseman, is from Nebraska. Why more Nebraska? Although Cody Ashe's not from Nebraska, just went to the University of Nebraska. 3rd season in the major leagues for Diekman. 32 games a couple of years ago. He appeared in 45 games last year with a real good earned run average, right around 2.5. Left-hander that really cuts it loose. Not always sure if the zip code is going, but he's got a pretty good arm.
In the air into center field, but caught out there by Tony Gwynn Jr. off the bat of Brian Pena for the first out here in the top of the 8th. Couple of other changes for the Phillies. Reed Brignac, who pinch hit for Rollins, has stayed in the game. He's at shortstop. They also have a new second baseman. Cesar Hernandez replaces Chase Utley. There's Hernandez.
Now, we were talking last night about Kyle Kendrick and how he was pitching as a right-hander way over on the first base side of the pitching rubber. Well, here you have Jake Diekman way over on the third base side of the pitching rubber. He's a left-hander. And if you want to take a look at his delivery and you realize why he's doing that, he's one of these guys that really throws across his body. And very difficult for him to get that ball to the third base side of home plate when he steps really towards that Harris sign in the outside the left-hand batter's box. It was really a crossover to try to get it inside to a right-handed pitcher. So he's trying to get as much angle as he possibly can, so it's easy for him to get it inside to a right-hander. That's why he misses high and away a lot. But when you're throwing 98 miles an hour, they'll let you miss a little bit.
The delivery reminds me a little bit of the old Pirate John Candelaria. An arm whipping action.
He could get it up there too in a hurry, couldn't he?
To the mound and handled by Diekman.
Take that.
That's a rarity right there. Now, the Reds have not had a base runner since the fourth inning when Neftali Soto singled into left field. Since that time, a dozen in a row have been retired by the combination of Hamels and now Diekman. Zach Cozart, who is 1 for 3, had a double in the first, scored the only Reds run, and one of the 3 hits that they've picked up is up there with 2 men out. Phillips is due next. He is not in the on-deck circle. It appears to be Ramon Santiago. Down the left field line, off the bat of Cozart, and foul. Well, it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility, but more unlikely than not that the Reds are going to come back and win this game with 2 out in the 8th, down by 10. So it appears that tomorrow afternoon's game here at 1:35 will be the proverbial rubber game of the series. Which way will this series bounce? The way of the home team, the Phillies, or the visiting team, the Reds? Tony Cingrani will make his return to the rotation against the very talented and tough lefty Cliff Lee. The series finale here tomorrow afternoon.
I'm Jim Day down by the Reds dugout. And Jim Kelch, I know you like your stats. And I know you like your anomaly stats. Did you notice last night in Major League Baseball something very strange happened? 6 road teams won by shutout last night. It's just the second time in the long history of Major League Baseball. Last time it was done was 1972, June 4th of 72, when 7 teams did it, including, ironically enough, the Reds shutting out the Phillies here in Philadelphia 2-0. So one of those anomalies in baseball. And I know you like stats, James Kelch.
Come on, Jim. You know I noticed that. Yeah, I was all over that. But that's a good story. 7 road teams winning by shutout last night, or 6 last night. Yeah, that was big time. I'm glad the Reds were part of that.
It's a lot of shutouts this year. A lot of low-scoring ball games. Ramon Santiago comes in to play third. Schumacher will go in to play second. There's Chris Heisey.
So Sam LeCure, who came on, got the strikeout of Brignac to end the 7th inning, now works here in the 8th. Carlos Ruiz been on 3 times, couple of hits, a run scored, a run driven in. All part of the 11-1 Phillies lead as we play into the bottom of the 8th. 14 is the most runs scored by the Phillies in a game this year. They did it down at Texas. In fact, they did that on opening day down in Texas. Soft ground ball to Santiago down at third. He'll throw across for out number 1 here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Continue to tweet those photos using hashtag #OhioFanPhoto. But here's tonight's fan photo of the game. What do we have? Kim at Kimmy14CS. Nicely done, Kim. Thank you very much. Our AT&T fan photo of the night.
Well, you were earlier in the ball game admiring those Reds uniforms that had the sleeveless look, and
like that look.
Yeah, we just saw that there. You probably wear yours around the house with no undershirt on, just to kind of show off the pipes.
That kind of thing is supposed to be kept private.
Well, you can find a lot of things on the internet you didn't think were up there.
That's right. It's not a selfie either. This is Cesar Hernandez batting for the first time. Remember, he came on last night, the pinch hitter in the 9th inning. Struck out against Chapman to end the first game of this series. You see his season numbers.
This is not the Cesar Hernandez that played for the Reds back in 1992 and 1993. He was an outfielder as well, although from the Dominican Republic. This Cesar Hernandez is from Venezuela.
Good clarification. Ryan Howard still in the game. He is waiting on deck. 11-run, 11-hit attack by the Phillies tonight. They're talking about tomorrow, Chris, and Tony Cingrani going to be activated from the disabled list. Been a while since he's been out there. Last worked against the Cubs on the 30th of April. A little over 2 weeks. You know, really worked out to the advantage of the Reds in terms of putting in another starting pitcher because of all those off days. They've had 4 off days in the last couple of weeks. They were able to skip that 5th spot until tomorrow.
Yeah, very unusual quirk in the schedule. There'll be times when the Reds are going to be playing 20 days in a row. Wonder where an off day is.
To right field and gone. Cesar Hernandez. His only at bat of the night. He goes deep. Second home run of the evening for the Phillies. And it's now 12-1.
Definitely not the Cesar Hernandez that played for the Reds in '93.
So Sam LeCure is victimized here tonight. Second home run ball of the year given up by Sam. Ryan Howard has not had a hit this evening. He's walked twice, both times has come around to score. Phillies had not been a home run hitting team this year. They were near the bottom of the National League in that department. They've hit 2 here tonight. First career home run for Cesar Hernandez. Staying down on that ball is Pena, and Howard is out. 2 down for Marlon Byrd. Here's what we have tomorrow afternoon. Tony Cingrani. He'll pitch for the Reds with his 2-2 record, 3.34 ERA. He'll make only his second career appearance ever against the Phillies, and he'll be opposed by the veteran lefty Cliff Lee at 3-4 with a 3.23 ERA. Long time ago, former Cy Young Award winner. Many teams ago, when he was with his original club, the Indians.
Well, intriguing matchup, because if Tony Cingrani is back, I mean, if he didn't want to go on the disabled list anyway. He had some barking in his shoulder. They wanted to shut him down to make sure that he didn't aggravate it. They realized that they had plenty of off days coming up, so they would not need that 5th starter, as you said. But if he's got his stuff back, I mean, if he's throwing the ball like he has in the past, that'll be a very intriguing pitching matchup tomorrow. Cliff Lee, fast worker. He is officially known as Mr. First Pitch Strike. So he'll be coming right after the Reds with strikes. And Tony Cingrani, when he's right, is the same way. A lot of strikes out of him.
Headed toward the middle and cut off nicely by Cozart, and not in time at first base. Marlon Byrd hustling all the way in a 12-1 game in the bottom of the 8th. Gets himself an infield hit.
Well, a base hit is a base hit. They're not going to ask you in November whether it was an infield hit or whether you just outran it or not. But, well, that was a nice play by Cozart. It just took a little long to develop, and Marlon Byrd, even despite the fact he's now 36 years old, can still get down the line. That's the way you play the game right there, on both ends. 12-1 game. Cozart goes way in the hole to make that play, trying to throw him out. Marlon Byrd, meanwhile, busting it down the line.
13 now. 13
not to
hits.
Play like that.
I would agree with you. And it gives Cody Ashley another chance to bat. He already has 2 hits. He's had a nice series, 5 hits now in the 2 games. 12 runs, 13 hits for the Phillies, a run on 3 for the Redlegs. RBI single is last time for Ashe. Told you earlier, the Cubs won at home today, 3-0 over Milwaukee. The Cardinals, they gained ground They won at Busch over Atlanta 4-1. So St. Louis gets back within 4. Reds, it appear, will stay 7 behind Milwaukee. Atlanta's loss and the Phillies closing in on a victory here tonight means they would be only 3.5 games out, despite being 4 under 500. They'll snap a 4-game losing streak, but be only 3.5 games out. And ball 4. Dominic Brown walks to the plate. The home run in this inning, the first of his career by Cesar Hernandez. 2-out infield hustling hit by Marlon Byrd and a walk to Cody Ashe. Brings Dominic Brown to the plate for the 5th time tonight. He's driven in a career high 5 in this game. Reds in the 9th inning, and there is further action out in the Phillies bullpen. Jonathan Papelbon, their closer, is throwing. There he is, the former Red Sox player. It'll be Heise in the 3 spot, Santiago in the 4 spot, and then Ludwig. 3, 4, 5. To first, Pena stays with it, takes it himself. Brown is out, and the Phillies get just the 1. So we go to the 9th, 12-1 Phillies. Proud to recognize the Army's Gold Star Pin campaign, which honors the families of fallen service members. To learn more, you can visit goldstarpins.org. New pitcher on for the Phillies here in the 9th inning. It's their closer. Jonathan Papelbon comes on. And of course, a non-save situation.
Now, these are the kind of situations sometimes if you're not careful as a closer, you don't have that closer mentality going, sometimes you can give up a couple of runs and it just ruins things for you. Right now, he's sitting at an earned run average of 1.7. He's 11 for 12 in save opportunities, and former All-Star with the Boston Red Sox. And All-Star here with the Philadelphia Phillies, I think, in 2012. 5-time All-Star. Big, tall right-hander from Jacksonville, Florida.
Yeah, and he played collegiately at Mississippi State, so he and the Cowboy probably get along pretty well. He blew his first save opportunity of the year way back on April the 2nd. Since then, 11 consecutive conversions, but he's not worked in a week. He's in there here to close this thing out. Santiago, not Heisey, leads things off out of the 3 spot in the batting order, and he will pop out to the shortstop. Grignac handles it, so 1 out. Reds fans celebrate Memorial Day weekend at the ballpark. Take advantage of the Memorial Weekend offer. Purchase 2 tickets for only $22 as the Reds take on the Cardinals. Plus, don't miss a weekend full of fireworks, giveaways, and more. Head to GABP for Memorial Day weekend. Take advantage of that 2 for $22 ticket deal. You can call 513-381-REDS for more information. That ball off the bat of Heisey, handled by the catcher, Ruiz. There are 2 out. Here's Ludwig. Driven in the only Reds run of this game on his ground out back in the first inning. He has since flied out and struck out, so he's 0 for 3. Applebaum trying to make it 16 in a row to end the game by Phillies pitching. He's at 3-0. Right now it's 15 in a row, 21 of the last 22. Only man to reach in there was Neftali Soto with that single in the 4th. And that streak comes to an end here as Ludwig draws the walk. He's on with 2 out. It'll be Skip Schumacher. Started in right, moved to second base. Hamels will get his first win of the year, his 100th career victory. And this is 249th start. 1 run, 3 hits, 7 innings with 10 strikeouts. Homer Bailey will suffer the loss. After 3 consecutive quality starts, he'll fall to 3-3, having given up 6 runs, 7 hits, and 3 2/3 tonight. So Hamels continues his mastery of the Reds, 8-0 in 11 career starts with 10 quality starts. And Bailey, unfortunately, still does not have a win against Philly in his career.
We build this as a potential very good pitching matchup, and we thought it would be, and it was there for the first few innings. Bailey was rolling along through the first 3 until the Phillies dropped the 6th spot on him in the 4th inning. Cole Hamels, meanwhile, just pounded the strike zone, challenging Reds hitters. The Reds have only had 3 hits on the night. It's a kind of game that you have to turn the page on and move on very quickly because you've got a day game to follow tomorrow. The two guys, however, that may not be able to turn the page so quickly would be Homer Bailey and then Sean Marshall, who also had kind of a rough outing.
Jay Bruce succinctly put it, there's more tomorrows in baseball than any other sport. That's what the Reds will be looking for tomorrow afternoon in that 1:35 game. Certainly doesn't get any easier with a lefty Cliff Lee on the mound. But it'll be good to see Tony Cingrani back on the mound for Cincinnati. To right, here comes Brown, and he has it. And the Phillies bounce back with a victory here tonight, 12-1 over the Reds. So the Reds were winner last night, 3-0. Tables turned on them here this evening. Phillies get the win and in the process snap their 4-game losing streak. And so the deciding game of this series comes up here tomorrow afternoon at 1:35. We'll be back with more from Citizens Bank Park right after this.